You don't remember? How come?
I wish I knew. What I do know, though, is that the first memory I have is of waking up in the middle of some village. It was dark, and I felt dizzy and, I don't know, empty? That's probably the best way to describe it. I eventually found the strength to get up and look around, and, well, that's when I realized what was actually going on around me.
What?
The entire village. It had been destroyed. There were corpses everywhere, men, women, children, and the houses had been crushed as if some mad god had rampaged through the streets there. And it had all just happened hours before because the destruction was still fresh. Whatever it was, I didn't have much time to think about it. As soon as I got up, I saw 3 riders coming through the smoke. One of them got off his horse, ran towards one of the corpses, and started screaming something in my direction. Then I felt a blow on the back of my head, and I lost consciousness. By the name of the sun, it's strange to talk about it like this. It's been so long, but the memory feels as if it had happened yesterday.
It kind of sounds like that she could have done it and somehow lost her memory after doing it, wakes up, and then the riders come along, see what's happened, and knock her out. Why did those men attack you?
Well, it turned out the riders were hunters who had come from that village. They must have observed the whatever it was from the distance and ridden back to the village. At least I think that's how it went. I guess I'll never find out. The reason they thought I was somehow involved is that the village priest found me a couple of days before it happened near a shrine in the wilderness. Apparently, I was wearing torn clothing, and no matter what the apothecary tried, he couldn't wake me up from my comatose sleep. And it seems that made the writers think I was some kind of witch child, or unholy beast, whichever you prefer.
They really thought a 6-year-old child destroyed an entire village? That's ridiculous.
For you, maybe. For them, as simple people, it was probably the best explanation they had. And think about it, it's not that far off. A motherless child who neither talks nor breathes steadily is found abandoned on the roadside and has a strange mark on her face. They leave to go hunting, and when they come back, they find their village in ruins with that foundling child being the only survivor. You have to admit, it's not that much of a stretch, even if those men hadn't been superstitious farmers.
True. I see. And these men wanted to do what exactly? Take revenge?
Probably. Truth be told, I try not to think about it too much. And actually, it doesn't matter, because I somehow managed to get away before they could do anything. I even made it to Ark all by myself, which didn't turn out to be much of an improvement in the end because I was pathless.
They brought you into the Undercity, right?
Yes. Thinking about it now, I actually wonder how I made it through my time down there. But maybe that's one of the advantages of being a child. You don't think. You just act. Still, the winters down there were cruel, and if Master Tyrus hadn't found and taken care of me, I probably wouldn't have made it through my second year.
Master Tyrus, a keeper, adopted you?
Yes, otherwise I would not be here. He saw me, and he knew what he had to do, is how he put it. Of course, the Order wasn't too happy about a pathless child in the Scuola, just as some aren't happy about you being here. But Tyrus was a highly regarded man, and that's why they let it slide.
So he just saw you and decided to adopt you. That sounds too good to be true, to be honest.
It does, yes. But then, he had lost both his wife and daughter 5 years before he found me, so maybe I was some kind of substitute. I don't know. But in the end, it doesn't matter. I owe him everything. He was a good man, and that's all that matters.
Why is the Order so preoccupied about Pathless trying to get into their ranks? It's not like we both don't have our reasons.
That's right, we do, but we are both still pathless, and that disqualifies us according to the holy verses. I guess now you understand why I was never as connected to Malthus's teaching as Dunwar was. To some of the Keepers, I am still an outcast, and no matter what I do, I always will be.
So Master Terrace granted you the novitiate.
Yes, and now I'm here. Well, here we've reached the end of my impressive tale. I hope you liked it.
You're definitely not the fisherman's daughter from the village. I'll give you that.
No, I guess I'm not.
What happened to Master Terrace? Where is he now?
Gone. He was very old, and there was nothing anyone could do about it. But I'd prefer not to talk about it, if you don't mind.
Okay. So that means Dunwar believes that this story about you being responsible for the destruction of that village is actually true?
He does, yes, and he's not alone in his opinion. One of those hunters recognized me in the market my first year as a novice, and you can imagine that it was easy pickings for those who were already against my presence in the Order. From then on, they added names to the derogatory stares. Demon Child, Witch, whatever they could come up with.
I've got to go with this one. That one, to say you're the only one who made it through the trial, I also made it through. Well, you're talented, intelligent, and pretty. Many reasons for the other novices to envy you.
Yes, maybe. You know what's funny? To some extent, I'm glad to be who I am. That way, people just leave me alone, and that gives me more time to focus on what's important, on my goals.
Which would be?
Several, but I'd say that's enough of the gloomy stories, don't you think? There will be plenty of time for chatter in the future. Maybe.
Maybe. Dunwar was the last of his bloodline?
Yes. All of the Dalmordans fell victim to the Great Flesh Maggot Plague of 8215. Actually, it was almost sad to see him running around and boasting about his nobility, though everyone knew that without the help of the Order, he would have probably ended up living in a shack in the Undercity. If you can call that living.
Let's talk later. I should go see the Grand Master now.
You should. It's already late, but if you want, I can show you the most important places in the temple before you go to the Emporium. What do you think?
That would be nice.
Good. Then get your gear from the chest by your bed and we'll go. Now then, let's go.
Good, that's still equipped. I don't want that one. Wasn't that lighter? 19.6, or had less armor, didn't it? There we go. I don't want those two. You gonna go?
Yes?
You're stuck there.
Move along.
Alright, this is the sanctum. It's a place of silence and prayer, and also where we'll be exalted later.
And walked through here earlier. I didn't go through the door we came through though.
Thou art pathlessness.
You just wait
Wherever
and
you look,
see. Where
let's hope
is
he
this
knows what
supposed
he
Yeah? Okay, I think you've seen this place before.
Yep.
We call this part of the temple the Chronicum, and in here is gathered the knowledge of the Order, written down in books and parchments. Plus, all of the experiments and research on artifacts and magic is done here, so it's a place you'll probably see often in the near future. Ah, and just below the Chronicum is the temple smithy. You should go there if you need equipment. Over there, that's the Scuola and the quarters, where both the keepers and the novices live. There's also a training room where everything from swordplay to marksmanship can be trained and taught. You will find some skilled teachers there. Well, I think that's about it. You've already been to the Emporium, and I assume to the Eye of the Gods as well. I suggest you speak to the Grandmaster as soon as you're ready to take the oath.
Fair enough. What will you do?
Prepare myself, probably. Now walk blessed. I will see you soon.
Okay. So that's the way out. So there's a place I can get weapons and armor here. Everything that way. I've been in there. That's the way that the thing told me to go there. In there. There's there was stuff behind this building too, isn't there? Down here. Armory. That's good. Okay. So during the day I'll come back and come to the armory.
Well, where did I put that?
Move along.
And you actually believe this could work? It sounds absurd.
I don't believe I know. The mercenary, he might not be the shite of Castle Starsound, but he's better than most of your men. I want him, and you will need to convince your true Chesser of it.
Is that so? Very well, I will convince her. You will hear from me.
I hope so.
Prophet, good to see you. How do you feel?
Oh, that one's getting straight to the point and a bit harsh. Should I do it though? Yeah, I might actually do that one. You never told me that that ritual could have killed me. Leave something out like that again, and it will be the last time I work for you.
Oh, what? So little confidence in yourself? I knew you would pass. If I had doubted your abilities, even to the slightest, I would have never spoken out for you. In any case, all that is left to do now is to recite the oath. Then we will finally deal with the more urgent matters.
What do I have to swear on? The dead gods? My loyalty towards the Order?
None of it. You'll see.
Fine. I'm ready when you are.
The ceremony needs a little preparation. 1 day at least. Come back then. Even if it hurts to lose more time, the cleansing approaches. I can feel it. Just this night I had another of the dreams.
A dream? What did you see?
People I knew, including you. But these people weren't themselves. There was something else, and it spoke through them. They mocked us and said our struggle against the cycle was pointless. It was peculiar.
Sounds familiar.
I believe that these beings are connected to the cycle. They must be the ones who cause it.
That's interesting. I had the same dream before I woke up in the curarium.
You did? That is interesting. It must be related to our roles as emissaries. Maybe there is a connection between us.
Any idea who or what these beings are?
None. Maybe they are demons or magical entities of some kind, but they are different from everything I know. In any case, if they are indeed responsible for the cycle, they are our enemies. That's what matters for now. Come back tomorrow for the ceremony.
You were in prison for a very long time, weren't you? 30 years?
Yes. Why do you ask?
Well, that's just how he is. Always talking.
I can't imagine 30 years of imprisonment didn't leave any scars.
They did. What are you getting at?
You want me to trust you. You want me to trust in your leadership. It's only fair that I learn more about you as a person.
A fair point. But in the future, just be upfront. I do not like such veiled remarks. So, yes, my time in the prison was harsh. The hunger, the degradation, to name the most obvious. The worst, however, was the isolation. Ironically enough, that was the last thing I had expected, you know. From all the suffering there is, it seems so banal. But it isn't. You either find ways to cope with it, or it breaks you. Fortunately, I managed to do the former. For me, it was memories of the time before my incarceration, the prospect of what would come after it. They were my window into the outer world, so to speak. They reminded me that I was more than this deprived creature I had become in those dungeons.
Figures. How did it feel to be free again?
Strange. Everything seemed too bright, too unreal. I especially felt that in the cloister with Narazul's mages. I had difficulty talking to other people, and whenever I did, it felt as if the others were like wax figures. Like some cruel joke put in front of my eyes in order to mock me.
And what's it like now?
Better. Our mission, my responsibility here as a leader, it has helped me to find my way back into the real world.
Actually, I'm surprised you went straight back to the Order after all that had happened. That's a lot of responsibility to take on after such trauma.
What would have been the alternative? A life as a fisherman? If the things I had to live through taught me one thing, then it was how important it is for me to be right here, right now, doing what I do. In fact, this is precisely what is missing in the world. People who do not let the whims of fate break their resolve. Now, enough of this. We have business to attend to.
About the cycle.
Yes?
Could you tell me more about the emissaries? What defines us?
That depends on whom you ask. In some writings of the Pyreans, we are referred to as chosen ones. But this is wrong. A better word would be chess figures with their own will. Whatever force causes the cycle also gave us powers and a task. But fulfilling that task is our own responsibility.
And you have no idea as to why we were chosen?
No.
And what exactly are these tasks we have?
Well, that is something else we only know in broad strokes. It is my task to lead mankind in its battle against the cleansing, to rally our strengths, so to speak. Yours is to read the echo and help us gain the knowledge we need for victory. How exactly you're going to do that is something we still have to find out.
Apart from us, are there other emissaries?
I do not know, but there are hints. We will see.
The cycle. Do you have any idea how long it has been going for? Going
Good
on?
question. In their writing, the Pyreans say it has existed for aeons. Since this world exists, since the Sea of Eventualities exists, so too then does the cycle. It seems to be a part of existence, so to speak.
What? And no one has ever succeeded in breaking the pattern? That's discouraging.
The Pyreans didn't, and neither did the dozen civilizations that came before them. That is what we know. But as for what happened before that, our knowledge about the past is limited. All that matters for now is that the cycle threatens us, and that we have to stop it.
Okay, so that's the only option it's giving me, and I've already done it.
Walk blessed, Prophet.
Was there another thing in there?
Yes.
Yep. These visions I have, the echo of the future. How exactly does it work?
As I said before, my knowledge about that is limited. But if it helps you, imagine that it is a way of perceiving that which connects us all, our subconscious.
You mean the place your dreams come from? The collective subconscious of mankind?
Yes. You know, most people perceive themselves as an entity separate from the rest of the world. And while this is partially true, there is something that connects us. Dark corners of our mind, bridges to which we in a conscious state do not have access to. But you do not need to be supernaturally gifted to feel that these bridges exist. I am sure you have experienced it yourself at one time or another. A moment where you knew exactly what another person thought or would do next. People with close blood ties can especially feel that connection. Children and their mothers, siblings, and especially twins.
So you're saying that all humans are connected?
Correct. And while most people hardly feel this connection at all, as if looking through a tinted window, to you, it is wide open during your visions.
If that's the case, how do you explain that I can see memories of the Pyreans? 2. They have been dead for millennia.
Their bodies might be, but the traces they left behind still remain. Everything that was, everything that is, and everything that will be, it already exists in the sea of eventualities. This is the basic principle of magic. And time is not a straight line. Only the barriers of our mind make us perceive it as such. Visions, premonitions, dreams that become reality. These are all leftovers of waves from other eventualities that spill over into our reality. There have always been people able to read them, but none so good at it as you are, thanks to the echo.
Okay.
Pathlessness, wherever you look. Where is this supposed to lead?
That's not where I meant to go.
West.
This is holy ground, Outlander. You don't belong here.
This is the one I wanted. Was that another mission it just gave me? Okay, it was a part of that one. With that, I might call it a stream.